The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters at Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome to the Icons of Real Estate. We have a very special guest for you today from the sunny state of California, where they're having some good weather right now. Bill Ruane, the #1 RE/MAX agent in the state of California and #2 in the world. Is that correct, Bill?
#2 in California,
Okay.
also #2 in the nation, and 3 in the world.
Hey, I
There's
love
one
it.
gentleman ahead of me who's going to be a nicer person. So a great guy.
Hey, I wish happiness for everyone, right? There's enough to go around.
Exactly.
There's enough to go around. So welcome to the show. And just, it's exciting to talk to folks like you because I imagine there's a fantastic story behind, getting to that pinnacle of success. So why don't we start at the beginning? How did you get into real estate, and tell me what that road was like?
So I worked at Embassy Suites right out of college, public relations.
Okay.
And hotels are notoriously, they're great training. You work a lot of hours, you don't get paid much. So the
Right.
training there was great. It was really, you get paid for 5 days a week, but you work 7. And also I got an opportunity to go into real estate. One of my friend's dad growing up was a realtor. And I didn't go to work for him, but just his professionalism, the way I looked up to him, he was a real motivator to go into real estate.
Wow, fantastic. So you just kind of followed his lead and went from there?
Exactly. His name was Bob Brandlin. Still alive, still doing a great job. Great person.
Nice. Very nice. So, so we know how you got into the industry. Tell me, and it's been some time. You and I are similar in age, and I can go back to the 80s and talk about the 80s, but talk about how maybe things have changed a little bit. I mean, I realize relationships don't change, right? We still develop these great relationships, but talk about
Right.
how maybe the industry has changed and changed the way you handle it, being such a top producer, of course.
Well, ironically, you just adapt. You adapt. From COVID, we had to do the P's, which always, wear the mask, wear everything else. Just adapt to it. I know we got a lot of pushback every time there was a new change. There's always agents who said, "Oh, I'm going to quit now. I'm not going to do it like this." There's just almost humorous, but again, you go through it, and it's a pendulum. And just realize that good days will be bad days will be good days.
Yeah. It's kind of what you make of them, right? I mean, it's
Correct.
you create your own day. We can blame the
Right.
market, we can blame the weather, we can blame the pandemic, but ultimately we create our own day. So now, being at this level of success that you've had or have, so is that a team built around you, or is it you and partners? It just, what kind of team do you work with there?
So basically, with when I say my team, I have a nephew who works with me. I have 4 ladies who are fantastic. They do behind the scenes, from the marketing, disclosures, social media, which is a big part of my success.
Okay. So there's a lot of social media outlets that are you getting a lot of is that where you get your clients from now? Is it social media, or is it still out, boots on the ground, or?
No, it's boots on the ground. I tell everyone there's so many realtors that are smarter than me. They're very educated in the real estate market. They know all the rules. They know everything else. But it's being able to adapt. And most realtors hang around their own age group, hang around their own social climate, their own religion, and really narrow that down. My biggest thing is just join everything you can. Kiwanis Club, Moose Lodge, join a ski club. Like I said, join these different things. The more people you meet, the odds are you're going to become their realtor.
Yeah.
Not many people have realtors that they are personal friends with. And I know we have a lot of realtors, but I don't think how many people realize, hey, do you have a friend who's a realtor? Not many do.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, I know realtors here because the business that I'm in, but for the most part, my son, who works in the hotel industry as well, he knows a few realtors. But for the most part, if I ask anybody, they'd say, no, I don't know a realtor. And they've probably sold houses before. They probably bought or sold a house.
Exactly.
And I'm like, what? How do you not know a realtor? I know 50 of them.
Right.
So good stuff there. Okay, so social media is one of the ways, and we talked about, but more boots on the ground, obviously getting out there. You still, a lot of people still in BNI?
Oh, as part of BNI.
Yeah, are there still a lot of realtors who use BNI as a referral source, joining BNI groups?
Oh yeah, and they do, and that does work.
Yeah,
Like I said, it was just one of those things like I was mentioning is that we're a dime a dozen,
yeah,
and I know it's hard to believe that we don't take that in heart. It's like the stages of the death. There's a point where you accept that growing up there was realtors before you, and then it disappeared. Just one day they're gone.
yeah.
So you just gotta have your name out there constantly.
Right, right. So how do you keep it going? Now, I know that's a kind of a loaded question. How do you keep it going, right? How do you keep the momentum as we age? And that's just you and I being similar of age. How do you keep it going and keep, what's your why, every morning when you wake up saying, I just want to continue doing this? It's probably not just financial at this point. There's got to be something else that drives you.
Well, it's your job is your identity. That's why I don't think I'll ever retire because I've seen friends who've retired, at 50 years old, and they age like dog years, And I'm not being sarcastic. I think this will be, and
Right.
it's sad, and I don't think I'll ever want to do that. And
Yeah.
the idea that, and it sounds funny, but even during COVID, I probably stayed home 9 days in 2.5 years. Never got COVID. I was very fortunate. But my point is, I think you have to have mini goals. As soon as I'm done with work, I'm done with work. But I'll work 12 hours, 9 to 9. But I'll go out for an hour. I'll go out for 2 hours, every night. But I work every day. But
Yeah.
that's what breaks up the system, And again, I'll go 100 miles an hour during the day and during the evening when I'm working. But when I'm done, I'm done, and I don't take anything home. I think that's the biggest. If there's a trick, if that's such a word, I think that's what could burn you out in real estate. Also, you don't have any place to not, just to separate the two. Even during COVID, even was allegedly I did. So I was not going to take anything home.
Right. Hey, you somehow dodged the bullet on getting COVID, so you did something right. I'll give you that for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Just coming out of this, right? We're all kind of feeling that it's almost like what do you call it? It's not a hangover, but it's like a malaise, right? Coming out of COVID and everybody's kind of looking around. It's like coming out of the cave, looking around, going, okay, who's out here? Am I the only one? You don't just start, you just don't go back to 2019 and start again the way you were, or do you? You know what I mean? Or is it different now?
It's a little more different. It's ironic. The energy level I have is more than I had before COVID because I felt like I was handicapped. I couldn't make the calls that I wanted to. I couldn't make
Yeah.
meet the people that I wanted to. And now I believe that you really appreciate it. It's the opposite of what you think. There's two ways to do it. I think the successful people appreciate what we went through and what you would have been denied potentially the rest of our lives and our careers. And there's other ones who make that excuse why they didn't get any sales, why they didn't get any jobs, why they didn't door knock, or why they didn't make that effort. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I just really appreciate being around people. I mean, to have ironically, number 2 in the nation 2 years in a row during COVID. Well, as you get older, you're supposed to do less.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's more of an addiction, a good one.
Yeah. You're supposed to do less, and you're supposed to be at home.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you doing? Somebody's breaking the rules. So, that's good stuff. It really is, Bill. And I know we're a little pressed for time, but, I wanted to kind of talk about where you see, and once again, where you see you're never going to retire. I mean, that's the mindset, right? You keep
Right.
You keep that.
Again, you could be injured tomorrow. You could be handicapped tomorrow. Those are things that you got to be sensitive to other people.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree 100%, and things happen. So where do you see, and I'm curious because I do 3 or 4 podcasts a day, right? And I talk to a lot of agents across the United States, and I hear a different story. As a matter of fact, I did one with an agent, was it Chico, California?
Yes.
Totally different environment than yours. But I'll tell you, she couldn't have been more the happiest person in the world. and I could talk to someone who did 600 million in sales, last year, and they're miserable. Right.
Right.
And so I kind of like that. I love it when I hear stories like that, the hometown kind of hero story. And then where she plans on being in the next 5 years. And she's similar to our age as well. What about you? I mean, I don't mean to pinpoint you on the next 5 years. That's so we don't have a crystal ball, but is it just keep doing what you're doing, or is there a bigger plan ahead for Bill that we can follow?
Honestly, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing because obviously it's a pattern that's working. You know what I mean? And it's a pattern that I like. And by the way, I've never touched a computer in the last 20 years. I know
Wow.
people freak out about that. I have a notebook right next to me that I take notes, and there's a very much a satisfaction of checking it off the box. While my mom was on a computer, 24/7 in theory, she could be. I mean, that way. But it's my point being is like I really think the idea of writing it down, just back to the basics, you don't forget it. And it's every day. It takes me about an hour to put my book together for the next day.
Yeah.
But I think that's one way that I will not miss anything. It sounds archaic. It works. It's doing something for me. So
Sure.
like
Well,
I said, I think.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, like I said, everything. So I'm on the computer, state of the art. I don't read the LA Times, the real estate section. I'll read the Metro and the front page. I don't read about real estate because I feel they're telling you what to do, telling you the market's negative, telling you the market's going down. I do like the question and answers because I think those are good.
Yeah.
But as far as someone else's opinion on real estate, I feel like anyone in real estate knows what's going on, and not be told what's going on. So
yeah, it's interesting. I find that news, whether you get it from your computer, your phone, or a newspaper itself, generally they're just trying to elicit a reaction. They're not really doing a service, and I'm not trying to be mean to the press or anything, but they're really not trying to do a service. They're not trying to help. They're just trying to elicit interest. That's why they call them interest pieces, right? I mean, at least when I was young, they would call them interest pieces or op-eds or whatever you want to call them. And yeah, they're just trying to elicit you to be entertained so you'll buy that paper every day or subscribe. So yeah, definitely having a professional that you could contact and kind of run with. You got a few more minutes for us? Or
absolutely. Okay. And I was going to go back to you, Tim, is that the idea that they said the interest rates are climbing and we're and basically scaring off the buyers. That's not working anymore because the buyers now are more educated. I think the average person probably refinanced 2 or 3 times in the last 10 years because of the interest rates. Right. And the whole thing where you're married to your house, but you date your loans, it's all you need is one day for the interest rate to go down, refinance. And you got the house a little cheaper and your rate's a little higher, but that's temporary. So I think a lot of people who are more educated are out in this type of market.
Yeah, and you and I mean, just going back, you and I remember 15%, right? I mean, I could go back to 84 and remember 17% interest rates, right? So, I mean, historically speaking, we're still in a really great place.
Oh yeah, and I started in '89, and I make the joke I made 100,000 my first year. And then 90, I was trying to figure out how to short sell my house. So it was a really good lesson. Luckily, I lived at home,
Right. That's pretty funny.
But it was a great lesson right off the bat. It was like, oh, that's not going to last forever,
That's a baptism by fire, I think.
Right, exactly.
I can do it because I've lived it. So, we were talking a little bit about technology. You say you never have your hands on a computer, and I can respect that. I mean, my hands are on a computer right now as we're speaking. I type things and moving around. But I am curious. There's such a shift now, and there's a shift in wealth, right? And there's a shift in age. I'm in my 50s, so I see for my own sons that are in their 20s. And I see this shift with their friends, and they're coming into a lot of money. They're getting paid very well, right? More than you and I. Well, I don't know. You made 100,000 your first year out. I certainly didn't. But
very lucky.
You're very, very fortunate. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But but they're doing pretty well, and they're definitely buying homes that make me, when I hear, oh, my first dad, can you come look at this home? Well, how much is it, son? Well, it's 625,000. Never bought a home in his life, no. He qualifies. I get it. But it's like, I sometimes look at that and it makes you shudder a little bit when I think about my first home that was 125,000,
Right.
and think, wow, that's really a quantum leap compared. I think everyone who's been in the business a while or is at a certain age says that. Do you find when you are talking to folks, maybe in that, I hate categorizing people, but the millennial age or what they call, I guess, the Gen Z age, that their mindset is far different than say maybe you and I that have been around a little bit longer and bought at different points?
Yeah, there was a point there where they didn't want to buy a house. Everyone wanted to just lease. And I was
Good
like in
point.
a 2 or 3 year period,
Yeah.
especially the younger generation.
So what
So,
changed? What changed? What innately changed in those people, those
well,
kids?
and this is absolutely just an assumption is that they probably saw their people or their friends who bought homes make all the money, especially in an increasing market.
Right.
You put 20% down, your house went up, 20%, and that's 100% return on your money.
Right. That's true. I mean, that there is no greater investment, in my opinion. I worked on Wall Street for a long time. I was packaging REITs for Bear Stearns in 1992. And I look back, Bear Stearns is gone now after 125 years on Wall Street.
Right.
But people are still buying and selling houses, right? I mean,
Exactly.
that's always going
Exactly.
to be a perpetual there. It should be.
Right.
Uh,
And I think what's ironic on this market, and it's funny, I've never asked anybody and never brought it up, is that you would think in the market that we had in the last 10 years, for sale by owners who are not around,
right.
ironically, as much as they were at one point, all the purple bricks, they help you sell. They didn't succeed. And I'm surprised. I know it would still, it's a big decision for most. I think most people realize that you do need a professional, you do need guidance, and maybe that's why it's not uh, successful. But it was funny that this time around, I didn't see the skyrocketing for sale by owners or the skyrocketing
Yeah.
companies that
Huh.
discount.
Yeah, that's interesting for sure. For sure. Do you think, that laws have changed so much since, let's just say, the 80s? They're constantly morphing. I know, recently we've had a lot of changes in laws just because of the 2008 situation and then, everything else that's going on. But do, do you feel like the buyer, and this could be a loaded question, so I'll warn you before I ask it that it
Sure.
may sound loaded. Uh, are buyers safer now?
I think buyers and sellers are safer.
Okay.
And I know there's a lot of pushback of all the paperwork we get. The
Yeah.
more paperwork we have, the harder our job is, the
Sure.
less competition you're going to have.
Yeah.
Plus, the buyers are going to get more educated by knowing what they're doing, knowing what they're signing. And these new laws and new forms that we have are based on lawsuits where someone else won or someone else lost. So it's just going up with the times, like you mentioned, that we have to grow all the time.
Yeah. That's that adapting you were talking about at
Right.
the top, right? I
Right.
mean, you just have to adapt.
Right.
Yeah.
And, and,
And
and that's for everything, by the way. They just have to learn
yeah,
to adapt, with life. I mean, like I said, COVID was anyone who lived through COVID and still a realtor is going to be successful.
exactly. There's no reason why at this point you should have any failure other than your own
Right.
whatever,
Right. Exactly.
I would say for marriage, the same thing. Because we are kind of married to the job. So whatever the deal is. Good stuff. Good stuff. So just a couple of more things, and then we'll let the weekend begin. So first and foremost, how would if someone wanted to get in contact with you, what's the best way? Is it the website, a number?
So my cell phone is my cell phone. When I say that, it's not a work phone. It's personal calls, regular phone calls, so they can call me the 310-322-0000. It's a
Okay.
very easy number. And I stress to people, if you're going to get a phone number, get a number that's easy.
Yeah.
Because and the basic thing, which I again got two different generations here with my nephew.
Yeah.
He likes to email people,
Sure.
and I told him, I said, picking up the phone, talking to someone, tell them about the property versus emailing, your odds are higher of getting that person to talk to you, return your call, or get them as a client. I also say that I think emails are for documentation, but not for communication. Recap with your email what you talked about, but
Right.
you don't want to. I don't know. You just want that personal touch. And if it didn't work, I wouldn't be successful because that's all I have is the phone and
Right.
texting. I've got the
Yeah.
girls for the email. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying that is predominant. It's quicker, it's easier, and answer your phone. If you can learn one thing, just answering your phone. don't let go to voicemail because you're just going to take a message, write it down, they call that person back. By then, they probably got another realtor. If they're in a mood to buy a house or sell a house, they're not going to wait around for you. Like I said, we're not we're not a doctor. We're
Right.
we're a good group, but we're not alone.
Right. I love that. I love that. And it's, I love it, Bill, because I can relate to it. And not, this isn't about me, it's about you, but that advice is so, just sage advice, because if people are calling you a lead, a referral, there's a pretty good chance they ask for referrals from somebody else that has a different name, right?
Right.
And people don't go, hey, I'm going to call Bill, and then I'm going to wait for him for 5 hours, and then I'm going to go ahead and call Tim.
Yeah.
And then if Tim doesn't answer, I'm going to wait 5 more hours. It doesn't work like that. I'm
Sure.
going to call this list and talk to these 3 realtors, Bill, Tim, and Jane, and whatever one I feel comfortable with, or maybe I set a meeting with all 3 and I go from there. If they set a meeting with 2 and 3, one's out.
Right.
So that's great advice. I've probably missed deals in all parts of my life because I go, I'll let it go to voicemail. I'm really enjoying this sandwich I'm having.
Exactly. That's very, very true. And it's hard to, because especially if you have a family,
Yeah.
you want to answer that phone or continue talking with your wife or your kids,
Yeah.
and you're torn, but hopefully they understand that, by the way, they have a good life because of the phone. So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why it just dawned on me that sandwich I ate might have cost me $10,000.
Exactly.
The best sandwich ever. Well, Bill, it's been great talking to you. I always like to give my guests kind of the last word of the day, and give them a chance to talk about something maybe we didn't cover. And that could be life, work, or maybe the dog shelter that you believe in. It doesn't matter, but go ahead, give us some last words at the end of the day.
There are last words, and like I said, it's one of those things. I apologize. I thought it was a podcast that didn't have a video. I would have dressed up for you a little bit better.
Don't worry about that. Don't even worry about that, friend. Hey, look at me. I'm going to play around after this. Don't worry about it.
No, I think just having people motivated, make sure you enjoy the job. And if you have people that you're training, and it sounds funny, but make sure that for 1 month, they have to work with you on a Sunday, not watch any sports, because that's going to be the toughest thing in real estate. There's your Saturday and Sunday football is gone. And as small as that I'm making that, I've lost other agents that football is very important to them. They've worked, they've always had their Saturdays and Sundays off. That's our busiest time. And we have a career that's predominantly for people. This is our second career. I think that's still the case. We have a lot of people who've retired now going to real estate. Well, they're used to working 9 to 5. They're used to having the weekends off, and understandably so. But this is definitely not your hours. It's whatever hours that people have. And again, you're a service industry. It's not, you're not paid by the hour. And just having a good attitude, meet as many people as you can, be as real as you can. If you don't like a certain group, like if you don't want to join a ski club because you don't ski, don't join it. If you phony, you'll be told right away. And giving out your card, don't give out your card as much as wait for people to ask you for your card. Yeah. Because I kind of take a pushback too if a lender gives me their card before I even ask for it. Right. Just create a demand for yourself. Make them want your card. Make them want to talk to you. You know what I mean? And that's probably the key I could say.
Well, Bill, I'll say this: you've got a great attitude and really brutal. This isn't a blow smoke deal. You're just friendly to talk to, and I can see why you rank where you do within RE/MAX. I mean, you got a great attitude, and I love it. And I really appreciate you being on the show. If anybody in the area needs assistance, I think this is Bill's the man to go to. Bill, thanks for being on the show. I look forward to talking to you again in the future and kind of seeing how things are going.
No, and the only last comment I want to say is that for being number 2 in the nation, and 90% of what I do is up by the airport and in El Segundo, California, which is only 9 blocks long of residential. Right. So it says a lot about the South Bay and the area. You know what I mean? It's really amazing. And I tell people, if I worked, Kentucky, I'd be number 3010. So we have a good product.
The curbside product has a little bit to do with that, but I'm telling you, you've got a good personality and a right mindset. If you don't mind me asking, we didn't really discuss it, but what's, and I never asked this, but I just, now that you brought it up, I'll go ahead and ask it. What is the average market value, on one of those blocks?
1.5 is the average
1.5? Okay.
for a single family dwelling.
Yeah.
So we're not too crazy because Man Beach, which is adjacent to us, the next city over, the
Yeah.
average price there is probably more like 3 million. So
Yeah.
we're a discounted city.
You're slumming it there, buddy. Hey,
And I
I'm in
admire
West.
the people when you look at it, Tim. The people who are number 4, 5, 6, 7, but they're in the Midwest where their average is 500.
Right.
So they're working their butts off. They're doing a great job, and they're
Sure.
amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They really are. So we gotta
Yeah,
appreciate
very,
that.
very, very true. And in Florida, I'm in Florida in West Palm Beach, and it's kind of like that here. I mean, I can go 1 block over, and they won't even let me walk by their house. I got to pay $1 million to walk by. It's what I always say. There's $1 million toll over this bridge to the island. And then I talked to a young realtor today. She'd been in the business about 10 years. And it was amazing to hear that her average home price was only about 550.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and the reason and I was like, what? Because the average price right there is, 3 to 20 million. And it was just happened to be this little sweet spot. And I'm like, maybe I'll move over there. This little sweet spot between Naples, Florida, which is a very hot market, and Cape Coral. And that's where the homes were priced. And they're
Right.
beautiful homes and it's beautiful property and you're 2 blocks from the ocean and blah, 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 blah. It's just amazing. And I think if people can't complain about home prices because they're out there, you just got to have a good person to work with like yourself. And, you get out there and get to work.
And give advice to the buyers: do daytime, nighttime, weekend. Do not go see a home just once the same time. You want to see what your neighbors are like. You want to see what the atmosphere is like. You want to see what the parks are like around there. But it's literally like daytime, nighttime, and weekend. If you can instill that with your agents and let them tell the buyers, "Hey, I'll meet you there evening, weekend." And then there's no surprises. You don't have the barking dog or the neighbor drinking beer, 7 in the morning. It's like,
sitting in his lawn chair in the driveway.
or maybe you enjoy that, but at least you got a choice to make.
You might want to join them, right?
No, you're great, Tim, and thank you for being so patient.
All right. Hey, Bill, no worries. I thank you so much, and I really hope to get to talk to you again.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, Tim.
All right. Bye-bye.